You're over 50, you're dating. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about online dating or dating after 50 through the lens of a divorce attorney.
Yeah.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for tuning in again to Second Act TV. I'm happy to welcome divorce and family law attorney Jonathan Noble back to Second Act. Jonathan, thank you for staying over.
My pleasure, Silka. We have to renegotiate my contract. You didn't say anything about staying over, but that's okay. And I can already read in the comments, people are going to be, that's a lawyer for you. But I'm thrilled to be here. Well, let's get the party started.
That's funny. Well, our last video, we will link to that. We discussed really marriage after 50, which is what you specialize in, not marriage after 50, but the prenups, which is what our segment was about. So we'll link to that because it is, that's a huge consideration for our demographic at this point in life. Another huge consideration for our audience, and one of our biggest topics, is dating after 50. And, ironically, you also bring that to the table. You're over 50, you're dating. I think you found somebody online that you're in a longer relationship with now, as I am. And you have some very direct opinions about online dating. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about online dating or dating after 50 through the lens of a divorce attorney.
Yeah, we'll try to put that out there. Yeah, you're right. For the last year and a half, I've only dated one woman, one beautiful woman. So that's all I need. And I found her through the online platform. I only went on one site, one swiping site, Bumble. And let's see if we can give your viewers some insight that they can think about.
Well, and you bring a different, I kind of tease that it's from the perspective of a divorce attorney, but you do look at these situations differently, a little bit maybe?
Yeah, I think I go with that jaundiced eye, and I want to see, if someone's telling me the truth. It's just those skills that come to bear, and they translate beautifully into online dating. So I'll give you some insight through my lens. And you could do with it what you will. All right.
Please.
First thing I noticed. Now, again, this goes back to like early 2019 and maybe 2018 when I was dating. There's many people in the dating pool I discovered are not actually divorced, even though they put themselves as divorced. And when I'm talking to someone on the phone, I'll ask them, what county did you get divorced in, or what's your docket number? Like, I just want to check it out. So I just want to say, if anybody asks you if you are actually divorced, to see your divorce decree, let them see it. Let them see it. I met several people, several women who told me they had friends that were dating who were not divorced. They didn't even know where their husband was and hadn't seen him in many years. It's not the person I was dating, but their friends. And I'm like, wow. And then when I heard it more than once, I'm like, this is kind of like a running rampant. So make sure the person is who they say they are. And you're going to do your homework anyway to make sure that they are who they say they are, hopefully, and they're being honest with you. And if you're not yet divorced, but you're just separated, be honest. That might not matter to them, and they might be separated too. But there's no shame, especially if it's important to you. Just say, hey, when did you get divorced? And if they're just try to ask politely. It's not the kind of thing anybody should be ashamed of.
Yeah, and if you received the question, I want to reemphasize what you said. Don't be offended by it, because there's precedent out there for people to ask. It doesn't mean they're being a jerk or, right?
Right. So to build on that, if anybody tells you they're one signature away from a divorce decree, probably not true. The only signature that you need is the judge. So if all the documents are submitted with a precipice to transmit the record and get a divorce decree, and all the economics are done, this is kind of a technical answer. That's one thing. Then you could wait for that divorce decree if it's important to you. But the truth is, if you get a divorce decree on a Monday, you're not ready to date typically on Tuesday, which brings me to the next point. You got to heal. You got to heal. And, your co-host Paige has got a lot of great information I saw on that process. So heal before you put yourself out there, because if you don't, you're going to bleed on someone who doesn't cut you. And that's not a good thing to do. So divorce could be traumatic, even simple divorces. You have to turn the page on your life, but it helps to be the best version of yourself. Be healthy in every regards, physically, spiritually, mentally, and then go out there. That's the best recipe through my lens,
Yeah,
and
no,
that pans out.
no,
So
absolutely. That's great advice. We've obviously talked about that on lots of different videos, and it's something that keeps coming up over and over and over again. There's lots of people out there who are jaded, hurt, that shouldn't be dating, which is part of something we talked about, coming into this interview, is why are so many people so negative about this?
yeah, I mean, if you are watching this and you want to leave a comment, great. And leave a succinct comment rather than, "Oh, I hate all this," or "I'm down on that," or "I've given up," because life can be really much better shared with the right person. I'm not saying anything you don't already know, but I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into things that I found that were tremendously helpful. And I want to talk for a second about the profile photos, because a lot of content creators talk about profile photos. So before I did the online dating thing, I went down the rabbit hole, as you would expect that I would, to try to figure out what people in my demographic, or the women that I wanted to date, were looking for. And I did that. And then when it came to the photos, I'm like, I'm not really the best judge. So I would like to say this to your audience: there's no way you're the best judge of what will appeal to the people who you want to meet and date. Okay. You're kidding yourself. Okay. You're not. So I did the research, and for free, I put my photos on Photo Feeler. And at the time, they allowed you to put a photo on as long as you judge someone else's photos. And in dating, at least at the time, you were judged on your attractiveness, trustworthiness, and how intelligent you were. They had like dating, social, and business. So with that, it was the feedback was brutal. You can't imagine. I did like A/B testing, and what is this demographic? And then I went to younger people, and just to see, and like the younger comments were like, "You look like my dad's lawyer," or and I'm like, okay, well, then I ramped it up a couple of decades, to more of the 50 plus. And what I thought was a good photo and what they thought was a good photo was night and day. Night and day. It opened my eyes, and their comments, however brutal, were truthful.
That
And I went with what they said, and it worked.
I love
So,
that. I love that advice. I have heard about Photo Feeler before, and it never came up. I'm so glad you brought this up. And this kind of goes to the lens of a divorce attorney again, the
oh, yeah.
research that you talk about and documenting, different things, kind of like picking a jury.
Exactly. And I got to know, it's like you got to know your judge. It doesn't matter what you think, it's what the law is, what the facts are, and how the judge is going to process it. So the photo that won, not even a close second, okay? I'm wearing these jeans. Okay, so these are 30-year-old jeans that have a bandana in the knee. But for some reason that translated well, and it got a lot of my off hours personality. So rather than just tell you about it, I brought the jeans in and I said, I'm going to show you what people liked. Now, of course, there is a lot of great information on your channel by other guests who talked about no filters, no scenery from your trip. I don't want to see you in front of the Eiffel Tower of 10 years ago. All right. That makes sense. No group shots. Don't send a photo of your cat either. That is a huge turnoff. Like, I'm like, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
But if you go into this with a lukewarm spirit, you're wasting your time, because the competition is fierce, and Either do it the right way or don't do it. But before you post all this, all right, you've patched yourself up, you've done the work. You got to be the best version of yourself. All right. I know that's cliche ish, but
True.
if you want, like, I think based on what I've read, 95% of the women want 10% of the guys. So that means no shit testing. If somebody reaches out to you and they want to meet them, because 75% of the people never have one date. Either they do for validation or they're just wasting time or they're lonely. So if you want to get out and really meet someone, meet them for coffee, as Mr. Robert Manny says on your channel. Bullseye, man. He got it right. Meet. And if everybody would just do the work and have good optics and don't go into it with a lukewarm spirit, maybe go on Photo Feeler and get banged around a little bit and have people say, let them choose. Their opinion is the only one that matters. You could, change the demographic and you'll be, if you're a snowflake, well, you got to get over it. But it's invaluable for someone that is in your demographic who doesn't know you. You don't want to give your photos to your brother or mother or somebody. Give it to someone who doesn't know you, because that's the people who are going to look at your profile. And it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I'll definitely have the link in there. Well, we have a few more minutes, Jonathan. I want to make sure that we make all these key points again from the lens of a divorce attorney and dating after 50. What else? What other advice can you give that people may not just think about? I mean, I know you've seen the worst of people just in your profession, but you haven't lost, your spirit for humanity and finding someone. How can we help others feel that way?
All right. If there is one thing that I would like people to take away above and beyond anything else, it's to get educated on identifying covert narcissism. All right. I know there's a ton of great content out there. You've had someone talk about it on your channel. These people are deadly. And if you're empathetic and you don't know what to watch for, it's brutal. So I just want to make a statement that really capsulizes that issue.
Please.
So I'm asking people to pay close attention to every time you feel tempted to modify your behavior in order to not offend the narcissist. Don't participate in your own conditioning. And there's a process that narcissists go through, especially coverts. It's one thing to see someone who's grandiose and, they're pompous and they're an asshole. That, you could identify readily. It's the people that are coverts. They go through a love bombing stage. Oh, you're my soulmate. No one ever made me feel this good. And then they go and try to devalue you. So you feel bad and you chase them and then they discard you. And then it's a terrible cycle. So covert narcissism, and you certainly don't want to marry one because they're never wrong. And your divorce is going to take 10 times longer than it probably should.
Yeah, no, I agree. Matter of fact, yeah, it was Dr. Gary Salyer and I had that discussion based on your recommendation, by the way. There is so much to talk about with you. I really want to have you back for more segments on various topics. Is there anything else you want to add on our segment today, Jonathan, about dating after 50?
Delighted to be here. If you're watching this and you got any value, comment, leave a comment, subscribe. It's free. It's still free to subscribe. She should be over 100,000 Silka and Paige by now, subscribers. So let's hit that. Let's share this too with someone who needs to see it.
Well, if you can't tell, and I don't know if I mentioned it, I mentioned our other video, but you have your own YouTube channel. You're a terrific creator. You have candid, funny, direct, content with great information. We will obviously link to that as well. And I encourage anyone to, one, check it out or contact Jonathan directly if you so choose. Thank you for the big plug, Jonathan.
My pleasure.
And we will see you next time on Second Act TV.
Thanks, Silka. Have a great day. Thanks.
If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.